I kept everything in an accordion folder I bought at a drugstore for $2.49. Tan-colored, 12 pockets, the kind with an elastic band that loops over a plastic button to keep it closed. I bought it 3 years ago because I needed somewhere to put the first hospital invoice, which came 11 days after my father's diagnosis and was for $4,800 after insurance. I don't know why I kept it. Habit, maybe. I was raised to keep things organized, which is one of the few useful things that family gave me. Or maybe some quieter part of me already understood what I was doing and wanted a record of it. By the time my father died in late October, that folder had expanded into 3 folders, all the same brand, all tan, all held shut with the same elastic loop. I kept them in the bottom drawer of my home office desk, under some old tax returns. I never mentioned them to anyone. My sister Diane sent flowers twice during those 3 years. White lilies the first time, a mixed arrangement the second. She flew in for 4 days after the initial diagnosis, cried in a way that made the nurses pause and look at her, and then went back to her life in Portland, which she described regularly as a lot right now. I don't say this to make her a villain. She wasn't one. She was something more ordinary than that. A person who discovered early that presence could be implied without being practiced, that grief could be performed in short bursts at high intensity, and that families tend to remember the crying more than the driving. She drove nothing. I drove everything. Tuesday pharmacy runs, Thursday PT appointments. The 6 a.m. blood draws that my father hated and needed someone to sit with him through. I drove those for 14 months. I'm not telling you this for sympathy. I'm telling you because it matters what happened in that lawyer's office, and it only makes sense if you understand what 3 years of Tuesdays actually looks like. The office had neutral carpet. Beige. The color of rooms designed to absorb difficult news without comment. There was a box of tissues on the corner of the desk, already placed, which told me the lawyer had done this before and understood his audience. My mother sat to my left, hands folded. Diane sat to my right in shoes I hadn't seen before. Dark burgundy, clearly new. I noticed the shoes because I was noticing everything small. When you already know the shape of what's coming, you stop listening for content and start cataloging details instead. The lawyer's name was Mr. Hargrove. He had a careful voice, the kind that delivers information without inflection, which is a skill and also a form of mercy. He began reading. Diane's name appeared in connection with the house, the joint savings account, the personal effects. The record collection my father had spent 40 years building. A piece of land upstate that I hadn't known still existed. Several named items, a ring, 2 paintings, a cedar box my father kept in his closet whose contents I had never seen. My name appeared once. Margaret has already been compensated through her contributions during the period of illness, and no further distribution is designated. Hargrove read it the same way he read everything else. Even-toned, unhurried. I watched Diane's face from the side. She didn't smirk exactly. It was smaller than that, a slight release around her mouth. The particular relaxation of someone who had been holding a possibility and just had it confirmed. She covered it quickly. She's always been fast. I sat with it. The sentence, its phrasing, has already been compensated. As though 3 years of my life had been a transaction, my father quietly settled in his own accounting, separate from the official one, without telling me or anyone else what the exchange rate was. I thought about him, not with anger, with something I still don't have a clean name for, a man I loved. A man who had a version of me in his head that was easier to live with than the actual me, reliable, quiet, already handled. The kind of daughter you don't have to worry about because she seems fine. I was fine. I was also owed something. Those two things existed at the same time for 3 years. And nobody asked about the second. I reached into my bag. There was nothing dramatic about it. I wasn't performing. I'd brought the folders because I had learned, a long time ago, that you bring documentation to rooms where decisions are made. And this was a room where a decision was being made about me without my input. I placed them on the desk. 3 tan accordion folders, elastic loops, organized by year and then by date within each year. On top was a single sheet of paper, white, unlined, with a handwritten total at the bottom in blue ink. 31 months of receipts, every copay, every invoice, every pharmacy charge, every parking garage ticket from every 6 a.m. blood draw. I told Mr. Hargrove I would like these entered into the estate record before distribution proceeded, as the estate might carry an outstanding financial liability depending on how the contributions were classified. Deanne said my name, just my name, the way you say someone's name when you want them to stop. Hargrove picked up the top folder, opened it. He was quiet for a moment, in the way that lawyers are quiet when they are reading something carefully and recalibrating. He said he would need to pause the proceedings. He said documented financial contributions to a decedent's care could, depending on the nature of the arrangement and the jurisdiction, constitute a legitimate claim against the estate. He said he would need to consult before anything moved forward. He said it without drama. He was just telling us what was true. I drove home alone. I didn't know what would happen next. I still don't entirely. These things move slowly, through channels I don't fully understand, toward outcomes nobody can promise. Diane called that evening. I let it go. My mother called twice. I let those go too. I'm not sure I did the right thing. I'm not sure what the right thing would have looked like in that room, or whether it was available to me. I know I told the truth. I know I kept the records because something in me knew they would matter, and they did, and I'm still not sure how to feel about being right about that. Before I started the car in the parking garage, I opened the glove compartment and took out my father's watch. He'd left it on the kitchen counter the last time he came home from the hospital. I'd picked it up without thinking. Nobody had asked about it. I put it on. It was too large for my wrist. I wore it anyway, and I drove home, and the city looked the way it always looks, indifferent and ongoing, not caring at all what had just happened in a beige room on the 14th floor. That felt about right.